Chevy's HHR is hitting the road, and like any cool ride, the want is to make it even cooler. So GM is having 4 of the top customizing teams in the business work their magic on the HHR.
Sweet. Looks pretty good.
We've kind of gone a little bit over the edge with this car. It's got so much going on, it just blow you away.
Oh, it'll definitely be faster than the boys in Texas.
They have 6 weeks to make a new HHR into a one-off wonder, and each team will bring their own style to an already stylish ride.
It's going to be under pressure, but that kind of makes it fun too.
These guys aren't going home.
It's a build-off ultimately creating a quartet of customized HHRs.
This is fun, man, chopping up a new vehicle.
And they're all coming together here and now on Rides.
It's one hell of a soccer mom van now.
I'm excited.
Even back when Chevrolet was still working on its new sports utility wagon, the idea was to make it a ride that could stir the imagination. See, before the HHR was out there was already a plan at GM involving a quartet of facelifts. They set 4 teams loose to do what they wanted in a 6-week build-off. Contestant 1, Unique Performance. They're the guys who put the Shelby in Fords and the power under the hood.
That's sick right there. 725 horsepower is sick.
Contestant 2, Year 1, the Georgia parts giant that builds customs made to be driven.
Man, that scattered the chickens.
Contestant 3, the shop known as Dark Side, the place where rides are made into party wagons and customizing is a way of life. Dark Side owner Kenny Fong knows the competition will be fierce.
I'm worried about all 3 of them. All 3 of them, they do amazing work.
And that third shop he's worried about is P-Teaser, a crew that has customized PT Cruisers for years. For top man Ray, the first job is sizing up the competition.
The guy from Dark Side Customs, I'm not familiar with what he does. The other guys I kind of know it's going to be something, it's going to probably some performance stuff. And I don't think that's really our expertise, so I'm going to concentrate more on the styling and some kind of a theme thing.
Your job has no rules. I guess maybe money and time, those may be rules. That's your problem. It's not mine.
They get 6 weeks to make the new HHR into a custom machine. If they can pull it off in time and with top style, they each get a little prize. The prize will be a new SSR truck from GM. The truck is way cool, but for fierce competitors, this will really be about out-tricking out those other guys. It all started as the 4 teams went to Detroit to meet the GM brass, including HHR designer Clay Dean.
Our mission here is to just come up with crazy ideas. Genesis of the HHR really comes from the history of Chevrolet, and everybody remembers the 49 Suburban.
Many call that very model the first SUV. Well, 4 stock HHRs are now being delivered to our 4 design teams, crews that have taken plain street cars and made them into customized art. For Year 1, they're soon 2 weeks into a build that is making a nice ride into a powerful monster. As the build goes on, Kevin and Phil tell GM what Year 1 is up to.
Customizing body-wise, we're looking at welding up the windows, making more of a panel thing.
But the real surprise is down below, where Year 1 is turning the HHR into a rear-wheel drive vehicle, making it possible for a giant LS6 engine to enter the picture. And that won't be the only new motor on board.
And we're going to have a model of a 350 on a stand inside the car that has some parts hanging, belts and hoses, and kind of make it like it really is delivering a part or a motor somewhere.
Yeah, boy.
Well, this is going to be exciting.
And from Unique Performance, Doug Hasty knows why Year 1 is here when Unique is here.
Oh, I just thought they were here getting some ideas.
So what are they up to at Unique Performance? They've been on the project for 2 weeks as well, and already they have ideas for every region of the ride. As the team works, Doug and company head back to Detroit to explain their plan.
We wanted to kind of incorporate what our company was about. We're all about performance, big V8, things of that nature. What's unique about this particular vehicle is really under the skin.
They'll put a V8 in a ride that came with a 4-cylinder engine.
Subtle, contemporary street rod.
What's the phrase? You had me at V8.
And then there's P-Teaser, new friends of ours at Rides, but hardly new to the world of reinventing vehicles. In fact, when it comes to the HHR, many give them the edge.
I think Ray probably has the upper hand because he's been dealing with customizing a similar product now for 4 years.
We thought we would try to take advantage of the Chevrolet's involvement in motor racing is what we did. We'd make like the ultimate tailgate party wagon, and it's going to have some really radical paint. It'll have a roll cage inside it, some racing seats and stuff like that, but when you open up the back is where really the fun part will be. We're going to have a slide-out floor that will double as a table, and I think we'll convert a toolbox into a barbecue and maybe a motorized blender and some stuff like that.
It's great that you're targeting at a real functional story, which is really kind of great because we always think about customization as being all just visual.
Yeah.
But customization is also functional.
Darkside got their ride a week late. Kenny has tricked out cars for many famous clients. Here on Rides, TV's Jack Osborne had his vehicle remade by Kenny Fong.
I saw a TV show on him. He was doing some car on a TV show, but I don't really know what to expect out of him.
At Darkside, you can expect the unexpected.
We're going to try to target a youth, urban type market. Take the main part of the roof and add a full glass top roof on that. We're going to make the center glove box flat in the middle of it, probably motorized, so you'll have a 9-inch screen that will come up on top of that. Very
Well, this is going to be a rolling party palace, is what it is.
So I'm the smallest company, and I've gotten my car a week late, but I'm not too worried about it. We're going to throw some style into it.
Each team, each guy has kind of set up who they're targeting and the type of story they're trying to tell. That's awesome. It's great.
Each team has their own specific to-do list.
Powertrain, suspension, interior, paint.
Cut, slam, paint, and shave. No more.
Hey man, we're going to put peanuts and peaches on it.
I'm going to give it hell.
I was blown away because they each created a very unique personality, which we knew this car had a lot of possibilities, but they all went down a different path, which was really cool.
It's really cool, but they all really need to hurry. The teams now have a little less than a month to finish.
Pretty exciting.
Hey, what's that deadline again?
It's 6 weeks that have already melted down to 4 weeks. And even at this early stage, it's clear that some teams are becoming quite attached to their evolving HHR.
We definitely love to keep it.
And they just love to outdo the other teams in this 4-way build-off. So now GM has heard from all 4 teams competing in their HHR build-off, with a quartet of customizing crews taking 6 weeks to do what they want with the new sporty wagon from Chevrolet. Ray and his team at P-Teaser are making the ultimate ride for a tailgating party. Unique Performance is replacing a 4-cylinder with a V8. Georgia's Year 1 is going to add a couple V8s. And Darkside's Kenny Fong is building a party palace in his West Coast shop. Yes, the HHR is going places, with our first stop today way down south. In Brazelton, Georgia, an automotive empire stands as a monument to a community that loves hot rods, customs, and especially smoky burnout contests on a Friday night. They're now into the hard part of their build, but the teardown was easy.
We had a brand new HHR delivered, and in less than 10 hours we completely disassembled it into about 15 crates. This is just a sampling of some of the pieces: the motor, 4-banger motor, wheels and tires, rear suspension, dash area, front and rear fascia, or some of which will be modified and put back into the HHR, our Heritage Hot Rod Edition.
Or more like higher heart rate edition, thanks to the V8 they're putting into the ride, a transplant that started days ago.
We're, I guess, about 2 weeks into this. We've hacked and cut and modified the floor and the firewall and rear frame rail section and everything in order to get the drivetrain under it. Now, today, we're going to try and mock everything back up and make sure we clearanced everything right. Fuel lines, brake lines, the whole 9 yards.
We should be able to take the weight off of it now.
They're using many parts from an 01 Camaro. And getting those Camaro parts is easy when you build in one of the largest car equipment emporiums in the world, allowing you to give the ride everything it needs.
Weight-wise, it's probably virtually the same, but with the rear end and the gear combination and everything, it ought to be plenty fast.
It'll be fast and also have the feel of a vintage delivery wagon. So as they create such a vehicle, they weld it all shut from the front doors back, presenting the impression of a panel truck.
That fits pretty good right there.
It's coming together, and knowing this team, it's going to be stylish.
And it'll probably be pretty fast, too.
In LA, we're in the land of bling and rides that stand out to get attention. And if they don't stand out, you take them to dark side, as Jack Osborne did with his BMW, a ride reinvented by Kenny Fong.
This is definitely new for me, the HHR.
Like all customs, it presents a challenge.
It's challenging for me because there's no parts available for it yet. So for us to fab up parts and do what we're doing is a challenge, and especially with the deadline.
Receiving his HHR a week late, Kenny's at a disadvantage, but he makes up for lost time by quickly adding new gear to the dash.
How are we doing on this?
Pretty good. I'm just taking all the pieces off.
Nice.
So it can be painted. Dash trim was made to go around the radio.
It takes a great crew of guys and a great support from the industry. Very cool.
Yeah, it still feels like it's hitting a little bit on the back right here.
Jose from Audio Concepts builds the sound system.
This is basically the base of the subwoofer enclosure.
This is going to be one hip and city-dwelling ride.
We're definitely trying to target more of a youth urban type market. We're going for two-tone paint, the big wheels and tires, a little bit of a body kit, shaved door handles, suicide doors, glass top roof, and the awesome stereo system with the interior.
And it's gonna be an exciting HHR.
It never ends for us. We're always up for the challenge.
And even though Farmers Branch, Texas is a long way from Hollywood, the guys from Unique Performance know all about one major movie star. She's used to getting all the attention, but today, Eleanor takes a back seat. The HHR is up there with its new side exhaust as though it was a Unique Performance Super Snake. And elsewhere on the premises, parts and pieces are being designed, created, and painted, all on their way to a ride that arrived with a certain type of character attached.
What we got was kind of an overall family-style vehicle. And what we've turned it into is kind of a performance monster, basically.
Well, that's what you'd expect from Unique Performance. A place where they're making a family ride into something of a street rod.
Wider, lower, it's kind of leaning forward. It looks like it's going fast just sitting there. Curb appeal is going to look great. It's going to have the right amount of bling to it, but man, when you get into the car, it's got so much going on, it just blows you away.
Actually, it will only blow anybody away if it gets done in time. So with the impossible deadline, Unique Performance boss Doug Hasty is insisting that the build team not stray too far away from the project.
4 weeks to build a car. These guys aren't going home.
It's one hell of a soccer mom van now.
At P-Teaser, Ray immediately knew what to do.
When we first saw the vehicle, we thought it was a great little tailgate party wagon. That's what it kind of reminded us of. But we thought because we're kind of racing nuts, we would do like a tribute to Chevrolet's involvement in racing.
To accommodate that scheme, they'll add Cobra racing seats, as well as a pull-out floor in the back that will serve up much of the party gear for the tailgating experience.
It's like a big drawer, just like in a toolbox, you know, just a big version of that. We'll extend it about 12 inches and we'll cover it with some metal and make it look cool.
Picking a theme and incorporating it throughout the ride is a way of working at P-Teaser. It's a method that has brought them success with their PT Cruiser projects.
We're going to have fun with doing some stuff that's a little bit corny for the street, I guess, putting window nets and braces like they would have it in NASCAR and things like that. Even if you worked your ass off like 12 hours a day, it should be about 4 months worth of work that we're trying to jam into 4 weeks. So it's going to be under pressure, but that kind of makes it fun too. We usually do best when we're getting ready for a SEMA show or something and there's a deadline, so that's what we'll be doing. It'll be rolling out for sure.
Whenever you have a hard project that you're forced up against the wall, it's kind of exciting for that brief moment of time to focus and just execute. It'd be fun to jump in any one of their shops for a week or so.
He'd see the wagon from Year One, the Party Palace from Darkside, the Street Rod from Unique Performance, and that Tailgater from P-Teaser. It's competition heating up by the hour, and by the hour, time slips away, because now they all need to have their rides ready in 3 weeks. Unique Performance, Year One, P-Teaser, and Darkside are in a 4-way build-off to reinvent the new Chevy HHR. They're all halfway through their 6-week builds. And over at Year One, they've been busy, making a 4-cylinder wagon into a V8-powered dynamo.
It's a little task here and there, but it's coming together pretty good.
Year One's Kevin King has a simple hope regarding the outcome of this project.
The main thing is I hope that we deliver is that we put together a pretty solid plan for what we wanted to do, and then we executed in the time frame required and got it done just like we wanted it to look. And I think the workmanship, craftsmanship that goes into it, I can't say that right. There's an S in there somewhere, right?
Well, however you spell it, there's a lot happening as the team focuses on the undercarriage of this rapidly evolving ride. With the power they're installing, they need to restructure everything going on down below, adding strength to a ride that's getting heavier with each new installation.
We might as well go ahead and put our control arms and stuff on it now.
These guys think like race car designers, adding torque arms to a utility vehicle.
The reason for the torque arm is for the load on the car. A lot of times, like in drag race situations, to plant your tires to the track to give you more hook is what most people call it.
It's time to hook up to the concept of clearance. When you gut a vehicle to make room for a new tranny tunnel, new suspension, and bigger tires, every inch matters. And as nice as this ride might turn out to be, GM will probably disqualify an HHR that can't turn a simple corner.
There we go. We got clearance on the gas tank anyway. It ain't much, but it's all that matters.
It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, baby, come on.
Or we got a good enough clearance on the shocks to... Is that good enough?
Yeah, we should be good there.
The seemingly slight difference of going from 17s to 18s in the rear presents yet another reason to calculate every inch.
It's perfect.
It's great, man.
Sweet.
And when it comes to ride height, it's a number where they want to lose a digit or two.
Yeah, so somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 inches probably will set us just where we want to be. Maybe a tad lower in the front.
So once it returns to Earth, the new weight distribution plays tricks with the stance of the ride.
We'll hold it. The back of it's way up in there.
We're going to have to adjust the rear springs.
Jack the shocks up in the back.
We're going to have to hack and cut.
Oh, it'll definitely be faster than the boys in Texas.
Well, the boys from Texas just might have something to say about that, and that's because there's always been a friendly rivalry between Year One and Unique Performance. The team is now pushed to the hilt by the company's top man, Doug Hasty.
We've got everybody kind of running around crazy, staying up all night.
They're staying up all night here at Unique, where their entry in the Derby isn't just about a new engine and reworked suspension. In order to compete, their build is also about redesigning the outside of the ride. This team is attempting to transform the wagon even further than their competitors. Speaking of which, just what does Doug think of his rivals at Year One?
Those guys out there in Georgia, You know, we played around with the idea of putting a flatbed, putting wood stakes on it, throwing watermelons in the back of it, but I was afraid they were already going to handle that one.
Yeah, right.
What's a couple digs between friends, especially with both teams feeling pretty confident? It's confidence that's fully in the air here at Unique.
What we're trying to achieve here is, with the HHR, is a hot rod panel truck.
We're doing pretty good right now, I think.
They're doing pretty good. But if any team has bitten off more than they can chew in the competition's time period, it's Unique. Of course, if any shop has what it takes to redo a ride, that would be Unique as well. The place where they know more than a little about changing up a vehicle.
When the car came in, you know, it looked like your typical grocery getter.
In the end, this ride will not look stock.
The hood, I extended it 6 inches. I put a kind of an old school Camaro cow style hood on it.
Joey Relli is a fabricator who has a few sleepless nights coming in his near and quite immediate future, tackling more areas than he first thought existed on the HHR.
I didn't at first think that we were going to go as far as we went with it, or are going with it.
And when it comes to paint, this team is going to take the tradition of the Unique Performance car colors and try something different.
You can see a lot of gray and black and gray cars in our shop, and even though it's a lot of fun to build those cars, there's still a lot of black and gray cars. This is something out of the box.
Well, in this box, they'll be going for great design as well as extreme performance.
Between the two, we'll have both drivability and a little craziness at the same time.
Feeling very comfortable right now. I hope that's truly something physical and just not all mental right now, but we've tackled the project and we're moving along pretty good.
Once we get done and see that it's all done, you know, all the hours and stuff that we put in it, it's not going to hurt so bad because it's going to be something we can really be proud of. There's no doubt about it.
Back at year one, they've done a lot, making a utility vehicle into a Camaro-based tank. There's both metalwork and woodworking, with the new bed going for the look of a classic delivery wagon.
Who wants blue floors? We do.
These guys have big plans all around.
We're going to fabricate a panel to cover the entire opening. On the bottom will be a rack that houses 2 spare nitrous bottles. The top will hold a helmet and a fire jacket.
Back at GM, they can already see the difference between the two muscle-bound projects.
You know, the two V8s, what I thought was so unique about that is they're both going after performance, but they captured it in completely different ways.
That's truly what both Year One and Unique like to hear, because when you have a fierce rivalry, the last thing you want is to be confused with the other guy. The new HHR is being reinvented by 4 customizers. We saw what our Southern teams are up to. Now it's about our Southern California teams, starting with Kenny Fong. Darkside tricks out rides for both the young and the famous.
Our clientele definitely varies, you know, 16-year-old kid that just got his first car to a well-known rock star or well-known actor.
Even rock stars and actors who live large will go for this HHR that Kenny and his crew are piecing together for their entry in the build-off. It's not only getting a lot of body mods on the outside, it's also receiving a sound system that will rival any gear you'd find in your best home theater. Now coming together thanks to audio specialist Link Ehlers.
All the wiring will come down the back, which will be hidden in channels on the insides of this, so any angle that you look at, the only thing you'll see is the amplifiers, the connections in the front with adjustments, and the heat sinks.
Jose Herrera creates the sub-enclosure, and soon he'll move from carpentry to chemistry.
This box goes like this, and that's where it starts all the curves. Try to make it a little more aerodynamic than just your normal square box.
And here's that chemistry. Epoxy, fiberglass, and resin compounds to give the dash some flash.
Just a nice, smooth dash. Not a bunch of seams.
The team here takes every bit of fabrication on a case-by-case basis, bringing new ideas to the next assignment, always making the latest gear different than anything found in other rides.
We come up with ideas and figure we've done that before, so we try and scrap every idea we have right when we get in, and then try and come up with something new.
In some areas, you can only reinvent the wheel so often, except when it comes to reinventing the wheel.
Some Maya wheels, some 20-inch custom-made 3-piece Mayas. We had them measured about 2 weeks ago for proper offset. Considering there's nothing really made for this car yet.
And there's a couple more items that weren't made for the HHR just yet, so the team made them. Custom side mirrors, replacing the old ones that didn't jive with the new look.
They're a little bit large, too much chrome. And since there's nothing out there for this car, kind of made my own.
They'll soon be testing the new electronic door openers.
When we go about things, we go ahead and do it all the way through. Beat them up, test them up, get them all done, and then come up with this.
The suicide doors really set this ride apart.
As you can tell, it looks pretty good.
And the new interior is still under construction.
From the exterior, looking in through the windshield, you'll see the dash that's black that we'll be doing. And then when you shut this door, that's going to continue onto this door panel as well. We're just going to use these lines to dictate where the color changes are.
With this progress, how is Kenny feeling now?
I think for the crew that we have, and I think we're gonna be up there right with those guys. But we're excited.
Well, the competition is excited in a big way a few miles from Kenny. P-Teaser has tricked out many PT Cruisers, and with a wagon like the HHR, this California team feels right at home. Ray sparks up the ride as he tells us their approach.
Basically just have some fun with the build, you know, and don't take it too seriously. That's what we plan on doing. This is fun, man, chopping up a new vehicle. This is great.
Cutting it all up is one thing. Building brand new, never-before-seen custom fenders is another.
Now that this inside's cut out, we're going to just mock up the actual width of the flare, and so that it's the same on both sides, we just made a little quick, crude template, but it'll get it even distance on each side. And once we get that there, that'll give us the wheel opening, and then we're going to use foam back in here, shape it out of foam, lay some fiberglass on that, and then we'll work off of that.
This is one sculpting heavy method, a process Ray has done a few hundred times before, taking soft raw materials and shaping them into car parts. Like some of his competitors, Ray is also making heavy modifications regarding the back half of the ride because he's lost his rear doors altogether.
Beautiful.
And if he says all this is beautiful, wait until we get a load of the best that's yet to come. Ray claims it'll be one elaborate color and design scheme, a paint job engineered to turn up the heat on this HHR.
It's going to be a very intense paint job with a lot of custom stuff going on, a lot of subtle little things that take a long time to do. So, and there's probably going to be at least 10 colors involved in the paint scheme. So it's definitely going to be a thrash once we get to that point. But in order to get that done, I need all this bodywork done in about a week, which is almost impossible, really, you know. But we'll do it. We'll just stay until it's done, you know. Yeah, that's the one. I'm just going to stick with the theme of Chevrolet and racing and hope that it's fun and that they appreciate what we tried to do instead of just building a regular car, something they can really use and take to shows and have some fun with. And we'll see what it does.
But they have far to go before they see how anything does. And the same goes for the team at Unique Performance. Year One is also racing to get their ride completed on time. And Darkside has to get to the other side of being halfway done. Speaking of Darkside, we asked Kenny Fong to tell us if he's nervous about how it's all going so far.
Not nervous, more excited than anything to see what some of these guys are going to do.
And how are the other creations evolving?
It's going to be a really neat, drivable car, and it'll probably be pretty fast, too.
Well, having that blower up underneath the hood on an LS2 is just, you know, more power to the rest of the guys.
The rest of the guys who all have very different things riding on their very different rides.
And I got a friend that bet me $400 I can't do it, so I don't want to lose that either.
None of them want to lose to the other teams who will soon bring their HHR to GM to show what a quartet of top build teams can do with the same utility vehicle in 4 extremely diverse customizing shops.
it's going to be a thrash, man. It's going to be 15-hour days right to the end.
And of course, remember, if they do it right and do it on time, they'll get to drive home in that very cool SSR truck. At Year 1 in Braselton, Georgia, they're putting the final touches on the HHR they're tricking out for GM.
It's been a lot of work. Quite a few of us have been here 16, 18 hours a day trying to get it done.
And they are getting it done, needing to do it faster than the competition. The unveiling of the HHRs will be in California, so this gang from Georgia has to get on the road sooner than the other 3 teams. It will be a long journey for a crew that made their ride into a vehicle truly representing who they are.
You know, us being a muscle car parts company, we try to give it a muscle car edge, and I think it's working out pretty well.
Yeah. What's wrong with y'all, man? Just put the damn thing in the car. Yeah. You ready?
All 4 teams had only 6 weeks to finish. 3 of these final precious days will be spent driving for Year 1, but even with that disadvantage, they're leaving with a running vehicle.
It's definitely going to work before it leaves there, that's for sure.
Time to launch the LS6.
Now it's time to go drive.
Meanwhile, at Unique Performance, they too are in the home stretch. Like Year 1, Unique has reinvented all the power and handling on this ride, and for Unique's Bobby Mikas, it's been a tough journey in a short period of time.
It's all a pretty good struggle. We've got a lot of electrical that goes in this vehicle for the stereo and obviously all the remotes that we have for it on the doors, the windows, a lot of modifications to the door panels, the rear panels. There'll be some amp work in the back. The rear floor has been redesigned for the gas tank and battery to accommodate that. There really wasn't anything too easy about it. It's been a challenge.
And it continues to be a challenge as they tackle the final pieces, eventually getting to the audio system.
It's going to have the 5JL amplifiers, and we're gonna mount them at various angles and stuff. Just kind of no real form or anything to it. And then we'll lay up some fiberglass and mold it all out and finish it all up.
These guys are pretty cool under pressure. They're only now attacking projects some of their competitors completed weeks ago. Concerning Year 1, Unique has its constant rivalry with that bunch from Braselton, and when it comes to this competition, the rivalry is as heated as ever.
For the Georgia Peaches up east, you're gonna have to bring the whole dog pound to beat this big dog.
And it's not just because of its performance.
We've done quite a bit of body modifications back here. We've obviously filled in all the tag pocket that was normally in the car here. We've smoothed it out, and we've actually built a panel that lays over the original glass in the car to give it that Opry look, like the 49 Chevrolet look.
This Texas street rod has come a long way, but the boys from Unique still have quite a ways to go. The big dog will also have to worry about the party palace from Southern California. It's Kenny Fong's Dark Side. So what's Kenny's biggest hurdle at the moment?
I'm gonna say the turbo.
Okay, we're gonna turbo up this little HHR today and hopefully add a whole lot of horsepower to it. Well, if you look under here, there's not a whole lot of room to put a turbo. Something that big that gets about 2,000 degrees with all this plastic. We'd have a dripping trail of undercoating underneath the car from what used to be under the hood. So we're going to stick it in the back, which is a lot more room, a lot easier to install. We don't have to take off any factory equipment or mess with emissions equipment.
This turbo will replace the stock exhaust system that came with the HHR. It'll push heated and pressurized exhaust back to the engine, boosting the motor by more than 150 horsepower.
The turbo back here is going to run about 500 degrees cooler. So compared to one up under the hood, this one's kind of on vacation.
The turbine wheel spins at over 100,000 RPM, so getting oil to the unit is essential.
Okay, we got oil coming to it. We got oil coming out of it. We're ready to roll here.
Darkside is the smallest company in the build-off, but they're thinking big, coming up with additions and installations that will be practical for actual drivers buying actual HHRs.
The practicality of it, that it actually could be something when it comes out that someone else can do. It's not so extreme that someone can't afford off the street. So it's something easily that if someone wanted to do in this urban market, they can get at it easily.
It's a design that says, I want that stuff in my ride.
You've got 2 9-inch headrests in your rear seat. Good to go.
All the little body mods from suicide doors or shaved door handles. Eric did a phenomenal job on revamping some different mirrors and LED flush mount tail lamps and modifying the grille. I mean, stuff like that for us has always been a challenge, but it's always been fun. That's what makes it a Darkside car.
And it's also a party-sized sound system that makes it a Darkside car. They also know a lot about sound systems at P-Teaser as well, but at the moment, the job is about metal, making roll cages and decorative plumbing that will carry out the theme of Chevrolet racing.
Boy, this is a nice list, right?
Yeah, I got a lot to do, man. It's like, if we get half of it done, it'll be looking pretty good. This is the fun stuff. Putting the icing on the cake, eh? Hey, Joe. Hey, can you hang some zip ties on those front roll bars, on those paddings?
Check this out, drinks
wow,
for 4. You want to put a holder in the back for some drinks? There you go.
That is awesome.
Isn't that great? You just plug it.
That is awesome. The HHR and everything.
That looks great.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Hey, I don't know where you other guys are at, but over here at P-Teaser, we're done. It's barbecue.
And more than just barbecue. How about breaking out both the drinks and the go-karts, celebrating a job well done? It's a project that will soon be on its way to the Southern California headquarters of GM, where 3 other HHRs will also be present, with all 4 claiming to be the coolest of the quartet.
Welcome to sunny California. Today, we have the opportunity to see what you got.
By certain measure, every team went as elaborate as the next, with some crews focusing more on power, as others put much of their time into style. Still, whatever their primary themes and goals, all 4 crews went far further than even they thought possible. The gang's all here and awaiting the unveiling of the 4 new rides. First up, Kenny Fong and Darkside.
You're up.
You're up.
I'm up.
Cut, slam, paint, shave, no doubt. The Darkside HHR Party Palace is definitely off the hook. And as Kenny Fong steers it to the display circle, the ride is clearly the kind of thing anyone would want to be driving. Flashy, but not over the top. Ultra cool without excessive bling, it's a wagon full of options that GM will certainly pay attention to.
Man, this is great, Kenny. This is awesome.
There's a lot of gear in this HHR, featuring JL audio amps, telling any music and media lover that this is the way to go.
We definitely felt like the dark horse in the whole thing, but, you know, it was, that was definitely a challenge. That was always in the back of my mind, for sure.
And in case you forgot, they did let the light in with their rebuilt roof.
We just had to be positive and, you know, work through the sweat and work those late hours. And, you know, we knew at the end that we were all going to be smiling.
And who wouldn't be smiling pulling up in this HHR? The characters from P-Teaser are truly bringing some character into this competition with their tribute to both Chevy racing and the sacred and fine art of throwing the perfect tailgating party.
The whole thing was a challenge, man, and there just wasn't enough time to do it. I mean, I really, even when I look back now, I don't know how we did it in that time frame.
As the whole fiesta unfolds, you quickly learn that the real fun is directly ahead, as a good time is assembled wherever this HHR decides to stop and hand out invitations. It's all here, so you don't even need to ask. Music, food, and the perfect ride to gather around. And if you happen to be in the mood for a little attitude adjustment, well, this whole setup can take care of that request as well.
You gonna make a smoothie?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent job.
Awesome
Hey, thanks a lot.
guys.
Excellent job.
Awesome job.
It's not many vehicles that arrive with racing helmet speakers telling you the festivities are underway. Most impressive is how fast they did all this, taking a mere 6 weeks to make an HHR into a party. Unique Performance knows how to perform with a blown and injected LS2. It's a tribute to teamwork and a crew that knows how to do the impossible in an impossible amount of time. It's a ride the Unique guys have fallen in love with.
What I'd like to say with the folks at GM is just give it back to them.
You get remote stop.
Absolutely.
Hey, I've been telling everybody you can't get anything more than a 4 in here.
Well, we did a just slight modification, but we were able to make it work.
Their Eleanor Mustangs are cool, but this ride is probably going to have folks asking Unique Performance to put out a line of customized HHRs.
We would do this again, but not tomorrow.
Now let's see what those Georgia peaches brought with them. Year one came all the way from Brazelton, Georgia, delivering their stylish delivery wagon to GM and the competition. A naturally aspirated prototype 585 horsepower LS6 will help this HHR deliver a lot of parts. And if they're behind on deliveries, there's an extra 200 shot of nitrous just for kicks.
It certainly sounds nasty.
Oh, it is.
We were just joking that the last kid's always got to be the loudest. It's great. That is great. Just a real wood floor?
Yep.
Look at that, just like an old panel.
Wow.
Having been working on ours now for 6 weeks and seeing it day after day, we couldn't wait to see what everybody else had done and to get out here finally and see them delivered and kind of just put them side by side with this quality work that these guys have done is just incredible.
So as part of the bargain, all of the teams will now be driving off in their own SSR truck.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I was beginning to wonder.
Is that all right?
You better give him the keys right now, that SSR.
Congratulations.
SSR.
Thank you.
Really? Thank you very much. Thanks, man. Great work. Very much.
Good job.
The HHR. GM says it stands for Heritage High Roof, but these rides prove that customizers are going to have something to say about that moniker. As the HHR now heads off in search of new customers, all of our teams now have their new stock trucks, and that gives us a big idea. Hey guys, what do you all say about taking those trucks and giving us a rematch?